So in tandem with the growth of cloud app adoption, we see that the growth of data breaches as well. And this story arc might be familiar to you, but I want to, in broad contours, kind of highlight some key details here. So this data comes mostly from the Identity Theft Resource Center. And back in 2005, they started doing these annual reports on data breaches. So between 2005 and 2019, the number of records exposed in data breaches increased over 600%, while the number of breach incidents increased nearly 800%. Some additional data from IBM's 2020 Cost of Data Breach report suggests that the most common vector for these data breaches are actually cloud misconfigurations. And it's big, given the frequency of this vector, it actually increases costs by about $500,000. Now, you'll notice that this graph ends at 2019. The data that we have for 2020 data breaches is somewhat preliminary, but estimates actually have them decreasing. This is kind of counterintuitive, but the interesting thing is that while data breaches are down, the number of records that have been exposed this year is the highest it's ever been, about 30 billion or more. So how can we make sense of this sort of seemingly paradox? Well, there's two major trends that we want to look at: the rise of data leaks and the rise of mega breaches. So data leaks are essentially incidents that involve data exposures from misconfigurations. Typically, they don't involve external actors, and in some cases, the data might not be viewed by anybody. But the fact is that the data will be readable from the internet. So say if you have a S3 bucket that the permissions are too broad or something like that, that would be a typical data leak. And companies are usually slow to discover these. Typically, a benefactor from the outside kind of notifies the company that they're leaking data over the internet. And so companies are somewhat reactive to this trend. Additionally, mega breaches are when you have a data breach that has affected over a million or more users. These have also become more common. And when you put these two trends together, basically you get a disproportionately small amount of breaches compensating for the majority of the records that have been breached. And just to give you a sense of this state, I did a query in Google News earlier this week looking for stories with the keywords misconfiguration exposed, which resulted in me finding 7 unique stories that have happened in the last 4 weeks. 2 of these incidents here, which I'm highlighting, had involved more than a million users, about 10 million users. And if you look on the right, you see the types of systems that tend to be involved. We've got an S3 bucket, we've got Azure. In some cases, Elasticsearch and other systems like GitHub are also pretty common. And at the bottom, this last story involves a data leak that had been going on for about 4.5 years. So that just gives you a sense of the types of trends that have been involved in the increase in data leaks and mega breaches.